claim that they have, that this is a surplus budget, is absolutely bogus. They're just not calculating all of the ways in which they're taking money out. It should be very simple. What are your revenues in? What are your expenses out? What's left over at the end, or what's the shortfall? Our calculation is about $3 billion short this year, a year when we have record revenues. Our revenues have never been higher. There should have been absolutely no reason for them to borrow money this year, and instead they're borrowing $5 billion and putting it off to future generations to pay back.
How is it possible in such a wealthy place we are going into debt and we're cutting public services? This is not how you build this great province. Alison Redford's idea of saving money is to pick up money on their credit card, on the line of credit, to put in the savings account. This budget is a recipe for disaster for this province.
Well, we are of the view that if they would simply reverse some of the tax cuts that were brought in under Ralph Klein on profitable corporations and the flat tax, which gives a huge tax break to the very wealthiest, we wouldn't have to be running a deficit at all.
About the fact that borrowing is cheap.
I look at what our finance charges are going to be, $820 million by 2017. That's almost the entire amount that we spend in a given year supporting individuals on AISH. It's a huge, huge number. It's when you look at the kind of demands that Calgary and Edmonton have for LRT, $820 million would pay for entire legs of our LRT system, not only in Calgary but in Edmonton. It's just throwing money down the drain. So to me, running a balanced budget, which they could have done in this budget, staying out of debt, avoiding those finance charges, to me, that's a far more prudent course, because then you don't end up having to sacrifice operating spending to pay for finance charges. This government has now locked us into spending at least $820 million in finance charges for the next 30 years. That is just money that is wasted, flushed down the drain, and it could have been used for so many more important purposes. For me, in this province, when you have the kind of resource revenues that we have, record revenues, more revenues than any other jurisdiction on a per capita basis, there's absolutely no justification for going into debt. They could have had it all. They could have balanced the budget, they could have met the priority needs, and they could have avoided going into debt. They've chosen to double down and just decide to throw caution to the wind and take us into a level of debt we've not seen since the Getty era.